Take a deep breath, pause for a moment, and recognize my presence surrounding you. You are not alone. Even though you have often felt that way, today I come to you with purpose, not by chance, not by habit, but with an eternal intention. A new chapter has begun in your life, a chapter unlike the ones that came before. I have entered your reality, into the quiet place where your thoughts gather, where your doubts mix with your prayers, where your tears speak louder than your words. I am here, not as a distant observer, but as the Father who has never stopped watching over you. My gaze has never wavered from you, even in your darkest moments, when you thought you didn't deserve my attention or my forgiveness. I have seen every step you took. I have witnessed your struggles to rise again, your efforts to move forward, even when you couldn't understand why the road seemed so hard. I have heard the cries you could never speak, the prayers that were lost in your throat, the promises you made with deep sighs, thinking it was too late for you. But today I tell you this: you are not forgotten, you are not discarded, you are not lost. I have changed my view of you, because your brokenness has called forth my mercy. I have changed my mind about you because, although the world cast you aside, I saw something deeper. A heart that still longs for my presence, a flame that refuses to go out. Do not define yourself by your failures, because I do not see you by your mistakes, but by the purpose I have placed in you. And my purpose has not expired, it has not been canceled, nor has it been given to someone else. What I put inside you is still alive, and today I have come to revive that which seemed dry, forgotten, and dead. I changed my mind, not because you convinced me, but because my compassion was moved when I saw your surrender, when I saw you humbled not with pride, but with true humility. Did I not say that I would never turn away a broken and humble heart? Do not be mistaken. I have not ignored your weaknesses, I have seen every one of them. But my love is not like human love, which shifts with the changing winds. I have been waiting for your return, not with anger, but with hope, because I knew this day would come, the day you would understand that I am not a distant God who punishes without cause, but a Father who corrects with love, who restores with patience, and who lifts you up without blame. By my living and eternal word, I tell you that what was once closed is now opening. Not because of your merit, but because of my faithfulness, not by your strength, but by my grace. You have stepped into a new season. What once felt like a delay will now become a time of acceleration. What once appeared as a wall will turn into a door. What you thought was the end will actually be a new beginning, because I am changing your direction. I am rebuilding your story from the very foundation, taking what others saw as worthless in you and turning it into a sign that I am the one who makes the broken beautiful, who turns pain into testimony. Many spoke against you, and even you spoke badly of yourself. You said, "There is no hope left for me," and you believed my promises were meant for others, those who were holier, more faithful. But today, I correct you, my promises also include you. My covenant has not been broken. I do not take back what I have declared over your life. I have changed my view of your situation, of your path, because when I saw you cry out from your heart, my compassion moved in your favor. You are not the same as you were before. Even though the enemy wants to remind you of your past mistakes, I remind you of who you are in me. My spirit had been shaping you even in the silence, even in the dryness. That's why today I come to speak this word over you. What I have started in you, I will complete. What you thought was lost will be restored in an even more beautiful way. From this moment on, I will call you by a new name. From here, things will begin to fall into place, not because the world has allowed it, but because I, the Lord of time and destinies, have set this moment as a turning point in your life. From this page of your story, everything will take on new meaning. Your journey will be different, not without its struggles, but always with my support. Not without tears, but always with purpose. Because when I place my hand on something, nothing and no one can undo it. So stay right here and listen with an open heart. Do not treat this message as just another one or brush it off. You might be standing at the very moment you've been waiting for, an opportunity that will not come in the same way again. I am here, and I have come to you with a clear purpose because I have changed my mind about you, and that change is everything. Listen closely, for I do not speak to you from a distance or with indifference, but from a deep and eternal love that has been chasing after your heart since before you even knew my name. I've been there in every detail, in moments you thought were small, in every breath taken between tears, in every silence that felt too heavy. Today, I don't bring you the same message you've already heard, but a higher, clearer, and more powerful revelation. You thought your prayers were lost in the noise. You thought your voice was too weak, that your repentance came too late, and that your chance was gone. But I, the God who sees all in secret, the God who never sleeps or grows tired, heard every word you spoke, even the ones you didn't have the courage to say. I saw when you held on to faith with just a thread left. I saw when you stood up even though everything inside you told you to give up. And I tell you now, I have changed my mind about you, not because you forced me to, but because you held on through the waiting, even when you felt there was nothing left to hope for. Do not call this just coincidence. This is the perfect union of my promise and your patient heart. The heavens are celebrating. The world will soon see a change that only I could make happen. This is not a test. Feel the change that is unfolding around you. What you once thought was delayed forever has now arrived, not by chance, but by my direct hand in your life. The hours of pain, the times when hope seemed almost gone, the belief that your opportunity had passed, all of that was not the end. It was the necessary pressure before what needed to happen. I allowed it, not to destroy you, but to confirm you. Not to punish you, but to shape you. What you thought was a burden with no result was actually me preparing something so perfectly aligned with your purpose that your mind couldn't have imagined it. Even though you worried the moment had passed, I always planned for this exact season to come. I didn't send someone else. I came to you myself to make sure this promise wouldn't just find you but would be placed directly in your hands with absolute certainty. This isn't a gentle breeze, it's a powerful wind. I saw those moments when you questioned, is this really for me? And I marked those moments. You saw them as doubts, but I saw them as signs. Now, I will show you, my beloved, with undeniable proof that this is for you. You are not unseen. You were personally chosen. You were never a second option. You were part of the original plan. I have been waiting for you at this moment because now is when your soul is ready to receive what, at another time, you wouldn't have been able to hold. I need you to understand this deeply. You are not starting over. You are about to step into what has always been yours, into what was meant for you before you even knew how to ask for it. I have changed my mind about you because you allowed your heart to continue to beat for me, even when everything around you tried to make you forget me. Yes, you were weak, but you were not unfaithful. Yes, you fell, but you never let go of me. Yes, you doubted, but you never denied me. Today, I release over your life what has been held back, what the enemy tried to block, what unbelief tried to stop, what shame tried to quiet. Today, I give you the keys to a new season, not as punishment for your past, but as the fulfillment of my eternal promise to you. This is not a reward for your perfection. It is an act of love for your surrender. Do you remember the places you thought you could never return to? I am reopening those paths. Do you remember the words you longed to hear but never did? I am speaking them now with my own voice over you. Today is the day when my word overrides every human judgment, every quick decision, every unfair label. Because I, the Lord your God, am speaking over you things the world will not understand. But if you listen carefully, you will know that this is my voice speaking to you. So accept this with no fear. Let my presence fill every part of your soul. I do not lie, I do not exaggerate, and I do not forget. And above all, I do not abandon you. I came today with words that carry the weight of my glory. I came with the purpose of embracing you in spirit and lifting you from the place where others thought you had become stuck. Nothing has been wasted. Everything has been preparation. And now, everything is starting to take shape in a new, brighter way. I am your God, and today, my child, I am here to stay. The time has run its course. What seemed like endless silence was, in truth, the quiet whisper of my plans, woven into every detail of your days. You have walked beneath skies that seemed closed and through paths that seemed fruitless, believing your story had come to a standstill, that what you once dreamed was a misperception, an illusion too big for your reality. But that which seemed to have died was never lost. It was only hidden in the waiting hands of time, a time that I hold. I have not forgotten what I promised you, nor have I discarded the purest desire that rose from the depths of your heart. For many seasons, your soul searched for signs, and when none came, you fought to keep your faith alive. Even when everything around you seemed to say otherwise, not one tear was wasted, not one sigh went unnoticed. Each night, when hope seemed to be slipping away, it was like incense rising to the highest place. And while you wondered why nothing was changing, I was at work in the unseen, building foundations you could not yet see. Changing my mind about you does not mean I was wrong before. It means your journey has completed its work, that your character has been shaped, and that your heart has been emptied of what couldn't go with you to where you are being led now. What once would have weighed you down will now push you forward. What once was immaturity will now be depth. And it is a depth I am pouring into you now, something that was saved for this exact moment, a moment that neither arrived too soon nor was delayed. You are not forgotten. You were never set aside as someone who didn't measure up. You were not ignored, nor were you endlessly tested. You were being carefully preserved, kept safe, set apart like the finest wine or the most precious treasure, reserved for the right time. Because what I hold in my hands, I do not place on shaky ground. And today, I tell you with complete certainty that what has been hidden for so long will now be revealed. The waiting has not only brought patience, it has brought clarity. Now, you can see the difference between what is good and what is eternal, between what is temporary and what is true. You will no longer be led by changing emotions, but by a deep inner conviction that does not rely on approval or recognition. You have been freed from fear disguised as caution, from doubt dressed as reason, from the thoughts that kept you trapped in old patterns. Today, I break every agreement you made with resignation and dissolve every promise you made with defeat. My intervention is not to patch things up, but to rebuild you from the ground up. I did not come to give you temporary relief, but lasting strength and stability. You have been repositioned. While it may look like you are still in the same place, spiritually, you have been moved. You are now under a new decree, in a different atmosphere. Everything around you is now responding to my word over your life. The doors that once stayed closed can no longer resist my will. The chains that seemed like part of your life no longer have the power to hold you. What once required your own strength will now move by my divine favor. There are things you thought were no longer meant for you, promises you buried in shame, dreams you set aside because they felt too big for you. But I come today to unearth what you thought was lost. I come to revive what you believe had passed. I come to show you that it wasn't your imagination, but my voice, that spoke during those times when you felt a fire inside you that had no clear explanation. Do not let your heart turn to doubt again. Do not feed the thoughts that are based only on the past. What is coming will not look like what you've lived before. Not because it is unreal, but because it is fulfillment. I am completing what I began. I am bringing fullness where there were once broken pieces. I do not want you to fall into old patterns of waiting without understanding. Today, there is light, clear direction, and a purpose that is now defined. This change that has begun will not be stopped by human hands or words that oppose it. It will not be delayed by the mistakes you've made or the fears that still linger in your heart. This is an act of my authority, and when my will is set into motion with power, everything else must align with it. The seasons respond to my voice. Times shift when I speak. And now, I have spoken. A new order is being established in your life. You are not here by chance. You are not standing on your own strength. You are being held up by my living word, by my unwavering faithfulness, and by my love that never gives up on you. Do not think that the delays you have faced have been without purpose. Everything hath been guided with care by my hands. I have been watching as your inner self was gradually shaped by circumstances that challenge your understanding. They were not just obstacles, they were necessary parts of a larger plan. I have been the architect of what seemed like chaos. Where you saw interruptions, I was laying the groundwork. Where you thought you were blocked, you were actually being repositioned for something greater. The time has arrived when the truth will show itself clearly, without filters or pretenses. It's no longer about keeping up appearances or trying to meet the expectations of others. I do not seek masks or empty traditions. What I desire is the true surrender that has awakened within you. A surrender that is real, without conditions, and without manipulation. What you've been through has removed the layers that clouded your true identity. Now, you walk more openly before me, and it is from this place that my hand can work with greater freedom. Many around you won't understand what I am doing. Some will even question whether you deserve what I am about to give you. Do not try to defend yourself. Do not try to explain. Do not feel the need to justify my actions with human reasoning. You do not need validation from those who only see your surface. They have not seen what I have seen. They have not heard the silent cries I heard. They do not know the quiet sacrifices you made, the acts of obedience in secret, the thoughts you let go of when no one asked you to. I am breaking the old labels, the ones others gave you, and the ones you accepted out of weariness. The words that were spoken over you like chains, the looks that made you feel small, the memories that held you back and kept you from moving forward. Everything is losing its power, not because of your effort, but because my presence is setting things right. What was once hidden in doubt will now be made clear with certainty. You are stepping into a season where you will no longer be stumbling in the dark, waiting to see if the doors will open. You will begin to see clear signs, mark paths, and divine connections that will activate naturally, without you needing to force them. I am personally aligning people, times, and places so that every step you take will have meaning. These paths may not be easy, but they will be paths supported by my strength. And that is all you need to walk without fear. Over time, I allowed certain opportunities, which you thought were essential, to close. I did this because I could see beyond the immediate. What you saw as failure, I saw as redirection. What you mourned as loss, I counted as freedom. Now you will understand why I closed certain doors when everything seemed ready. It wasn't punishment, it was preservation. There were things you should not have handled in that state, but now, at this moment, you are ready to receive what would have destroyed you before. I know the waiting made you doubt even yourself. You looked at yourself with disdain. You even thought there was something deeply wrong with you. But today I reveal to you that nothing in you was broken without purpose. It was all part of the shaping. There were rough edges that could only be smoothed out under pressure. There were shadows that could only be exposed in times of quiet. And even though you felt lost, I was always finding you. This is the cycle that ends now, the cycle of constantly questioning your worth, whether you have value in my kingdom or if you have anything to offer beyond your mistakes. It is time to stop living under the judgment system you created. You no longer need it. What I declare over you doesn't come from the past or from how much you've earned. It comes from my choice, and I have chosen you without conditions, without needing your approval, and without you needing to prove yourself. It is true that there are parts of your life that still need healing, and I will heal them not because you keep asking, but because it is in my nature to completely restore what I love. I am not done with you. What begins today is a deeper level of freedom, a time when you will not only live in truth, but also carry that truth into places you once feared. There are people who have been waiting for a voice without hidden motives, a life that doesn't seek to shine for itself, but instead reflects something eternal, and that will be your mission. This is why I have shaped you the way I have. You are not here to follow old patterns or repeat what has already been done. You were made to break free from what bears no fruit, to establish what is real in a world full of confusion. It won't be easy, but you will not walk alone. I will go ahead of you. Do not look back to the past. Even though the old may call to you, even though comfort may try to draw you back, do not answer. The new is already in front of you. You only need to move forward in the direction I have already set for you. Do not look for outside signs or assurances. I am your assurance. I have watched closely as you fought battles within that no one could see. They weren't the obvious conflicts or visible storms, but quiet, constant struggles that drained your strength little by little. Thoughts that tried to steal your hope, voices that planted doubt, and hidden burdens that made every day feel like a fight. You didn't look for attention, and you didn't even know how to explain the weight on your soul. Yet you didn't completely give up, and that was enough. That quiet resistance, even when it seemed pointless to you, was noticed and valued because it's not always about big actions, it's about the small choices made from a faith that, though wounded, refuses to die. I did not ignore your moments of silence. I did not miss your acts of obedience when everything around you seemed to fall apart. I saw that even without feeling strong, you still tried to stand tall. It's not easy for the human spirit to stay firm when the ground shakes, when support is lost, and when the waiting lasts far beyond what seems bearable. But you did it in your own way, with your limitations, with mistakes that you later regretted, but you did it, and it was not in vain. That persistence, that small light you kept burning against the wind, has brought my favor to you in a special way. Now, a new season is beginning, and you will see with your own eyes the results of that inner perseverance. This is not just an ordinary harvest. It will run deep. It will touch not only your immediate surroundings, but also future generations. Things are being rewritten because you chose to hold on when no one else would. Even without realizing it, you broke old patterns, raised silent curses, and turned away from easier paths because you knew they weren't the right ones. You weren't looking for rewards, you were searching for peace, and that peace carries eternal worth. There are doors that didn't open before because your presence in those places would have meant settling for less. I do not plan small destinies for those who have been shaped in the fires of struggle. I create wide spaces, but those spaces require hearts that have been tempered by experience. You did not understand all that I was preparing. You thought silence meant I had abandoned you, but it was really a time for inner strength to grow. Your vision needed to be purified so that when the moment came, you would not be distracted by the surface, but would recognize the true substance. I am aligning your surroundings with careful intention. It's not just about changing your circumstances, but about bringing your environment into harmony with what has already been renewed within you. What's happening outside will start to reflect what has been transformed deep inside. The right people will begin to appear not by chance, but as part of a divine plan. There will be encounters that won't rely on your skills or influence, but on my will. You are being placed in positions to take on tasks beyond what you thought you were capable of. The fear that once caused you to pull back no longer holds the same power. Now you see with new eyes. It is not the courage that comes from emotions, but the certainty that comes from your spirit. You are walking with more confidence, not because everything has been fixed, but because you now know who you are, even in the middle of uncertainty. You will start to see how things that once seemed impossible begin to open up, not because they've become easier, but because you now have the authority to step in. This authority doesn't come from titles or systems, but from the inner work you did in private. What once seemed like a wasted time was actually a season where you gained unseen keys, and now they are being put to use. Take a deep breath. Pause for a moment and feel my presence around you. You are not alone, even though there were times you felt abandoned. Today I come to you with purpose, not by accident, not out of routine, but with an eternal plan. A new moment is beginning in your life, one unlike any other. I have come down into your world, into that quiet space where your thoughts gather, where your doubts mix with your prayers, where your tears speak louder than your words. I am here, not as a distant observer, but as the Father who has never stopped watching over you. My eyes have never lost sight of you, not even in your darkest times when you thought you didn't deserve my attention or my forgiveness. I have seen your steps. I have watched when you stood up, unsteady, when you tried to keep moving even though you couldn't understand why the path was so hard. I have heard the cries you couldn't speak, the prayers that got stuck in your throat, the promises you made through sighs, believing it was too late for you. But today, I want you to know, you are not forgotten, you are not rejected, you are not lost. I have changed my view of you because your brokenness called out to my mercy. I have changed my mind because, though the world cast you aside, I saw something deeper. A heart that still longs for my presence, a fire that refuses to die. Do not define yourself by your failures, because I do not see you through your mistakes, but through the purpose I have for you. And that purpose has not ended. It has not been canceled or passed on to someone else. What I placed inside you is still alive, and today I am here to bring life to what seemed dry, forgotten, or dead. I have changed my mind, not because you persuaded me, but because my compassion stirred when I saw you surrender, when I saw you humble yourself, not with pride, but with true humility. Didn't I promise that I would never turn away from a broken and humble heart? Do not be mistaken. I have not overlooked your weaknesses. I have seen them all. But my love is not like human love, which shifts with the wind. I have been waiting for you to return, not with anger, but with hope, because I knew this day would come, the day when you would realize that I am not a distant God who punishes without reason, but a Father who corrects with love, who restores with patience, and who lifts you up without judgment.